Hi, everyone. Our next session is a little more interesting and a little more exciting. It's all about technology. So, this is a fireside chat between Mr. Jayesh Pandey, partner PwC, and Mr. Sauvik Bannerjee, Chief Technology Officer, TATA Digital. Is online workspace technology boom evermore? Is it going to stay forever? I will hand over to you, Mr. Jayesh.
Thanks, Shalini. Thank you very much. And I must thank Sauvik. Sauvik, thank you for making time and talking to us. I'm sure that all the participants have a lot of questions for you because I think this is this is an extremely relevant conversation. So we would love to hear your views. Love to get a sense of what's happening. Excellent, excellent. So, Shavik, I think we have about 25 odd minutes, 30 odd minutes. If that's okay with you and with all the participants, uh, I'll just pose a few questions around this and invite Shavik your views. If there are questions as participants want to ask, I think they can put it on the chat window. And also, if I can request Shavik, towards the end of the call, end of the session, we'll try and see if we can keep aside some time so that people can ask a few more questions, right? So I think that's the overall lay of the land. Uh, Very quickly, Shavik, diving straight in, right? Vaccinations are on. New strains are coming up simultaneously. Borders are being shut, and there is a whole host of economic recovery that's predicted for India. So there is news on both sides, right? In your view and your experience, how do you see this future of workspace? And when I say future, I'm actually not looking at a 10-year. What would be really relevant, because you are a practitioner, you are in the field, you're really you're really well versed with it. What's I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you, what's your next 24 months looking like? What should we expect?
Let me just put a context to what I do, then it will be a little bit more relevant, and then I will
Sure.
take the view of technology companies, enterprise companies, vertical companies, technology companies. Let me put it this way. Can you hear me well, Jesh? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. I just hope that the participants can hear us. Someone can check that.
That would be great.
Shalini?
We can hear you very well.
Shalini?
Okay.
Okay.
Good,
All right.
good.
All right.
Thanks. Go ahead.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thanks, Shalini. So, see, one thing has been established in this COVID space. Let's just take industry by industry. Then it will make much more relevance. Let's take healthcare. Healthcare frontline workers, doctors, are barring remote consultation, everything will come back to normalcy. Remote consultation is going to stay. That, and for whatever you need, whatever the technology platforms you need, from Zoom to Teams to AirMeet to those are remaining. Remote consultation is going to be a horizontal. So remote consultation will be there for doctors, for automobile buying, for consultation of retail, live video demos of stores. That will remain. Will it impact operational life? No, it will just impact conversion much more seamlessly. Manufacturing, you can't manufacture anything working from home. Let's just be brutally honest. I can't manufacture Tata Steel working from home. So life has to come back to normalcy for manufacturing, wearing masks, social distancing. I don't know how plant line workers in automobile will be able to do anything, to be honest. So manufacturing industry will go back to absolute normalcy with precautions taken care of. Then let's take healthcare. Healthcare hospitals, it will come back to normalcy. Yes, social distancing norms will follow, but after vaccination, I think world will get normalized. Um, now let's take technology. Um, Technology industry doesn't need to be in person. Work from home in technology industry, in the SI space, in the platform and product space. Example, if I take SIs like Accenture, Infosys, TCS, Wipro, and take product companies like SAP, Oracle, IBM, Adobe, do they all need to be in person? No. Do they sometimes need to be in person? Yes. What level? Leaderships probably would. Developers, no. That's the right decisions being taken by Google as well. TCS has taken that decision as well. Developers' productivity did not break. And working from home, like the entire concept of onshore, offshore has been there for the last 20 years. That has led to the booming of India's tech. That is nothing new at all. Let's be brutally honest. And when we make such a big hype about this concept of working from home, no, it was always there. It just became a little bit available for a lot of people who did not want to do. So, can I teach from home rather than having students come over? Yes, that's an avenue which is opened up. So life in the next 24 months will become absolutely normal, specifically those industries which I just mentioned, like aerospace. You can't build a rocket sitting from home. You can watch a YouTube video about it. So yeah, normalcy will prevail. Technology industry will go through a very different operating model. As long as the productivity of a manager, uh, developer, a leader, a senior manager, CXOs, they need to be in office, but barring strategy meetings, barring board meetings, barring P&L meetings, barring whiteboarding sessions, do they need to be? One thing which is very important in every sphere I'm observing, and because I look at the gambit in our group,
Yeah.
you cannot do online whiteboarding. There isn't a single tool, whatever any technology platforms claim. The whiteboarding sessions, brainstorming sessions, design therapy sessions cannot be done. There is nothing like in person where the collaboration of ideas come through. But that is not day to day. Execution does not require that. That would be my POV, and that's my observation in the next 24 months. I don't know beyond. I actually don't live in 24 months. I live in every 3 months. So, yeah. So those would be my observations. Yes.
So let me put a follow up question there, right? And I can see the rationale that you are giving, that there are things which have to be done in person, and there are things that can be and have been offshored. So potentially they have moved from office space into desk space at home. So I get that. But then there are these middle jobs, right? And multiple functions: finance,
Yes.
HR,
Yes.
marketing, right? You mentioned leadership, so sales leadership.
Yes.
You mentioned a whole host of tech companies. So I would say IT function inside an
Yes.
organization, right? Now, what's happening? And one of the things I'd love to hear your view on this, as I speak to a whole host of people around us, is that there are teams which are now operating in the office,
Yes.
and while the other team's job doesn't really require them to come to office, there is this a conversation on where teams that are in office are expecting the other teams also to be in office. So do you see that pull and push kind of settling down somewhere? Do you see there is a tech space there?
That's the pre-vaccination, though. That's pre-vaccination. So it's a common space. We have to understand that today's world is very scared, and rightly so. And it's a very deadly pandemic. It's not killed and thousand people. It's few hundred thousand. I think confidence is not going to be overnight. Um, Organization will have a driving team who will by example. Does the world meet from home is the not 100%. It is impossible. Does the leadership need to work from home? No, you can't. You can't run multi-billion-dollar organizations working from home in silo. However seamless it can be, you cannot. Body languages play a big part. Stakeholder management plays a big part. Not everything is computed on spreadsheets and P&Ls. Everything is businesses are built by people. People build businesses, and in person. The world was not built working from home. So I'm very very convinced that 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 mix will remain, rightly pointed by you. But over a period of time, it will normalize. We have gone through plague, we have gone through polio, we have gone through far harder diseases in the country. We have grown up with all kinds of diseases, and vaccination has normalized. Is the virus not in the air for dengue, or is the virus not in the air for malaria, or is the virus not in the air for typhoid or jaundice? You don't hear them anymore. Virus
True.
hasn't gone away. We have just got vaccinated. We have built an armor around us.
True.
So life will move on.
Okay, so Shavik, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a deeper dive, right? There is an element of even in the last session we spoke of a whole host of conversations around productivity changing, people shifting toward more outcome, the gig economy and the gig relationship between employer and employee. We also spoke of a whole host of changes happening to how people are doing their jobs now, right? So I know that there is a whole host of intelligence being built in, specifically given that pandemic, most organizations saw as an opportunity to digitize and take their
Absolutely.
digitization to the next level. uh, where do you think that and I'm going to split this question into two parts, right? One is around an individual, so a contributor, right? And that contributor has an individual contribution and it contributes as a part of team. So as an individual, what do you see, what work tech will evolve, how maybe analytics or maybe intelligent AI will or ML will change life for people as an individual. And then the points that you made, which is no one can do whiteboarding when you are on a Zoom call or XYZ call. And there is lot of value that teams create when they are sitting inside a conference room, watching each other's body language, bouncing off ideas each other, building on top of each other. So there is the individual piece and there's a team piece. So let's focus on the individual. Where do you think that work tech will take us?
Um, Shall we just focus on India for the time being?
Yes,
Um,
let's focus
let's
on
just
India.
focus
I
on
would
India.
tend to agree. Yeah.
See, India is 1.4 billion. Out of that, 100, about a billion people have smartphones, and about 650 million people are internet users. So there's about 400 million people who don't use the internet in the country. Now let's just take into example, has 900 tier 1 towns and 10,000 villages all got Jio and Airtel and Vodafone and BSNL? The answer is we are on the path to making it happen. Was it there? What's the broadband infrastructure 5 years back and now? Tremendous amount of
Change.
pivoting has happened, right?
Yep. Yep.
Is the whole of the country completely broadband savvy and compatible? The answer is no. Does whole of the country has tower frequency to power 3G and 4G across the country? The answer is no. Should the country be infrastructurally fully scalable? The answer is absolutely. Are we on the path? Absolutely. Now let's take the context. So that's my baseline argument. What are we dealing with in India? India is a nation which is primarily 3G, aspiring to be 4G. And when I say aspiring, I don't care about south of Mumbai and Delhi and Calcutta, Chennai, Bangalore, Jaipur. That is not India in any way. Your tech hub is also not centered around, and neither are your users who do internet education or wants to work from home. Um, that's bigger a part of India. Around 265 cities is people right now working under my team, and my team is not millions of people. Now the challenge is that this will pivot. India is also pivoting. Work from home requires a basic set of necessities. You cannot do work from home and perform productivity if the individual can't afford a decent size optical fiber broadband. And when I say optical fiber broadband, it doesn't mean Geo's dongle. Geo's dongle requires affordability. Does every human being in India has one access financially? Two, does it have the ability to, even if he can access it, has that reach, has that optical fiber reach or a frequency tower reached for 4G for him to basically pay? The answer is no. Has it reached the cluster of workspace which protects and pivots our GDP?
Yep.
The answer is yes. Has it can people who live in the suburbs of all metros, all tier ones, have access to infrastructure of broadband which can make them eligible to be work from home? The answer is yes. In those spaces, in those clusters, Jaipur, Bhubaneswar, let's talk about specific places where work from home is actually becoming a new age phenomena. It is not Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. They were always work from home because they're technology hubs, they're IT hubs of the country for the last 20 years. It's the Bhubaneswar, it's the Pune, it's the Hyderabad, it's the Sikandrabad, it's the Jaipur, it's actually Srinagar, it's actually Shiliguri, Kochi, which has pivoted immensely in the last 10 months, and the communities have started working from home on a few sectors. This is not going away. If you say, Sauvik, well, 5-day work, come back, the answer is absolutely no. I mean, certain amount of jobs, middle level jobs, which can be done from home, why will the guy travel? Also, some very interesting observation. So the hubs where people used to migrate, so an individual, I own exactly 10 lakhs rupees of salary, or 7 lakhs is my salary. I'm a 2-year pass out. Any graduate, not forget technology. If I had to go to Bangalore, if I have to go to Delhi to work, I have to rent, I have to stay by myself, I have to have that whole renting is his savings now. So why would he need to move? And then his argument to people like us is, Shavita, I am fine. My productivity is what you observe. Na? Why are you looking at making me move again? And they're absolutely right. And they're saying that to us, people like leaders in hundreds and thousands. And they're saying, we don't need to move because our productivity is measured. I don't need to stay in a metro where I have to pay X rent. So those are the right observations. And it's not going to
Perfect.
go away, Jayesh.
Yeah. So the key question to my mind, and that's where I, again, yeah, pushing you a little, Shavita here. Uh, Very quickly, this population that you spoke of, right, the individual contributors, they're also ambitious. Very quickly, they're going to go into team roles because they'll perform well. The
Correct.
moment they go into team roles, collaboration, whiteboarding, design thinking,
Everything is
those are
needed.
the places there. So therefore, do you see that this is a temporary phenomenon, and then like you said, life will swing back more towards this because a larger part of this population will grow into those roles, and
They
our
have to.
economy will swing.
They have to because they're a very intelligent bunch. Bulk of the half of the country is under 35, and they are an intelligent. Well, we hope they are very intelligent. More importantly, they're much more intelligent than us. And intelligence, emotional intelligence, will prevail. They will soon realize that we're all vaccinated. Bulk of the teams are starting to move. If I have to grow, I have to go and show my prowess rather than showing an initial on a faceless communication engine. Number two, do I get to learn everything online by remaining connected? The answer is probably not. Can schools eternally survive? The answer is no. Schools, teachers have a lot more value system and belief system built up. So a working professional's life is based on a set of working principles and value systems and belief systems. So at the end of the day, will that get built staying at home? The answer is no. Sooner he realizes, and sooner the country is completely 100% vaccinated, the better. The question I did not answer to your last one, just to address, is what are the capabilities of AI and ML? So primarily entire behavioral psychography of prudence, prediction, and projection of how people are behaving based on what sort of a Teams call should be set and what sort of a feature set should I give to the user. That's a whole different ballgame where people are working on. There's a team in Teams, there's a team in Zoom, there's a team in Cisco. They are completely trying to understand behavioral patterns of 3 Ps: prudence, prediction, and projection. So, how are we projecting the next set of call in regards to the behavioral pattern? If somebody is animated, somebody is calm, they are predicting those sort of features. They're all part of the roadmap, and it will only help. What you can't do is predict a human being. How you can? If I would have met with you over a cup of coffee, that connection. I've been working on neural networks for the last 22 years, and primarily NN. We've not been able to connect, even with human computing interfaces, even with brain computing interfaces. I can get a human being to say, a paralytic human being to say, I want chawal or roti. That is happening as of today. And the neurons give a tick saying in a graph board that I want chawal. I can't create a connection. What I will create a connection in person with you, Jayesh. There is humanity,
Very
and then there is artificial intelligence.
yes,
And by the
very
way,
well put.
I'm calling it out, being artificial intelligence practitioner myself, and have a couple of research doctors on that. So a lot of FAP is going about, a lot of rubbish bullshit is going about in the air. Let's just clear it out, because the youngsters needed to be told what is going to happen once you're vaccinated. You're expected to turn up, a life will normal. We can't live in the paranoia of pandemic for eternity.
I think that was very, very, very insightful, Shavik. Thank you very much. I think that's resonates with me personally a lot. Resonates with a lot of leaders that I have spoken to. That there is this swing back, and there is value there. It's not that the swing back is just happening because of vaccination, but there is more
Correct.
value there,
Absolutely.
both for the
Lot more.
individual teams and the organizations. There is value there.
Absolutely.
So I think that was very well put. Shavik, if I can, take the last few minutes, and there are a lot of our, uh, participants here who are from the technology sphere, right? If if I were to request you to kind of share your views in terms of, given this swing, on both sides, right? First, we've swung from, largely physical to, can I go and do as much digital as possible, stretch, even be uncomfortable in some cases. And then as we come back and say, okay, what's value, in terms of staying digital, what's value in terms of going back to physical? And therefore that, kind of we emerge with in a better position, in a stronger position, organizations and individuals and teams emerge in a stronger position. What do you see the CTO's role, right? What do you see the CTO's role? How do they, because gone are the days when CTOs were enablers, right? Now they are business builders. So to
Yes,
my
yes.
mind, what would you see the CTO's role? What would you see, people who are interacting with them, their teams, and what's their capabilities are? What would your thoughts be?
Rightly put. I only build internet businesses. For the last 20, 21 years, I've only built internet businesses, whether they are mine or whether I build it for someone else. So let me just put a context to that. So my answer might be very skewed. Uh, so I look at, let me put a broader hat on. There are three roles which is confusing the people right now in the world. What is the RACI a CIO has and a CDO has and a CTO has? And when I say RACI, the roles and responsibility matrix. Organizations have a CIO, organizations have a CTO, organizations are all having a CDO as well. But the business community, but the business stakeholders have the partner community, the SI community, the consulting community, the big four, the product community are very confused. What is the gambit of these three? I still think the where we pivoted from CIO to a CTO who has got a broader officer and a broader KRA, as you rightly said, a business set of KRAs as well, will kind of be there. Digital office will turn into more data, more digital marketing focus, more analytic focus, more digitization and transformation focus. What good thing what pandemic has done is people who are people who are fence sitters on transformation, they have all got converted, which is a good thing which has happened. The pandemic is done to
Very
the
true.
IT and the technology community. They realizes we are in a dinosaur era. Our technology and IT and my CIO was always saying transform, transform. We were in a mind space of non-legacy. We love legacy. They have all have to convert or have converted or have gone into a transformation journey which was pending for the last 3 years. Which is a good thing which has happened. But the CTO's role going forward is a combination of three. Entire customer experience, whether it's a B2B. Say suppose I work for an organization which builds cars, or I work for an organization which builds steel. I work for an organization which builds apparel or manufactures apparel. The CTO's role has gone into three: IT, internal IT and technology, products and platforms, business KRA of that organization's .com and stores. And the third part is consumer experience, which has customer service, which has refund, which has POS, which has store, and which primarily ends into a perfect order. So the concept of, if I were to run a manufacturing industry, I was a CTO of a manufacturing organization, the customer experience, whether it's a B2B dealer distributor, is also my mandate with my CEO. If I was a P2C or CEO of a CTO of a B2C organization, customer experience, the end consumer deliverables, IT, internal IT, and the entire technology operating from an ERP to a CRM to a .com to an app. The entire gambit now falls under CTO. Now, how does it impact the business? Well, there is GMV to CSAT to NPS to a perfect order to EBITDA neutrality to a profitability. I am seeing more CTOs own these business metrics with the CEO, because world is not going to be devoid of an organization which doesn't have a .com presence or an online offline presence. For B2B industries, for manufacturing, healthcare, dealer distributors are not going to do everything over the counter or over the in person, because the world will go through technology advances and godly changes. So the CTO's role becomes inheriting the CEO's KRAs and the matrix. Then it's impossible for the CEO and the sales team or the category team or the marketeers to own these KRAs anymore, because if the CTO is the powering engine, right? If that team or that vertical doesn't power, how are these matrices going to get met? So what they're saying is, I don't want you to remain the powering engine anymore. Why don't you own it jointly with us? And you own the success and the failures with us.
Right. And do you think, just last one question, and then we'll go back to the audience. Do you think that there is a differential set of capabilities that are required by the CTO teams and the CTOs themselves? Are there newer skills? Are there newer capabilities apart from the business ownership that requires? Does it require, for example,
CTOs have to be also very strong business evangelists. Number one skill set. The old world CIO CTOs didn't require that to happen, because the CEO and the sales team and the category teams used to focus on that. CTO's biggest, the post-pandemic, post-transformation or during transformation, CTO has to be a role model in the organization for non-technology community. Because, see, the CTO is like Jasprit Bumrah. You can have a Virat Kohli and a Rohit Sharma taking all the accolades and all the endorsements and the love of the world, but still somebody's got to build a team to get you 20 wickets to win a test match. So if you ask me, Virat Kohli is the captain, the CEO, and Ajinkya Rahane is your head of sales, then Jasprit Bumrah is your CTO. Is he less important to the Indian team today than Virat Kohli? The answer is absolutely no. Does he carry the burden of the team equally with Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane? The answer is absolutely yes. And what does the CTO team need? The CTO team needs an Ashwin. CTO team also needs a Ravindra Jadeja, and the CTO team needs a Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj and a Shardul Thakur as part of his gambit. So the bowling unit is the CTO team. The batting unit can be the CEO team.
Very, very interesting analogy. Very, very interesting analogy. So overall, and Sauvik, I'm going to attempt to summarize, which I think I will fail at, but I'll still nevertheless go ahead. Before we go for the questions, very quickly, I think what we covered was that there will be, the swing back from the current status of trying to do everything digitally to doing things that create value digitally and going back to things that created value in person or physically, right? So that's the kind of status, and you have kind of pointed out, various sectors will respond differentially to this. So, I would love to, summarize in that saying, remote consulting is here to stay, right? Given my business is consulting, I would love that portion. The second part, I think, which also was equally that leadership is an in-person art, is a performing art, and it will remain that, right? So I think, to my mind, leaders need to be there, and they have to be there in person. And I think that was very interesting. And I put teachers in the same category. So, schools, value systems, wherever there is
Absolutely.
foundational building, that has
Absolutely.
to be in person.
You see,
I
China,
think
I
that's
just
one.
want to point that out. China opened up the first thing, what? To secure the schools first. So you got the kids, because kids will go, a 5-year-old to a 9-year-old will go completely ballistic staying at home.
True.
It's unhealthy, more importantly.
Very true. Very true. As a parent, I can completely relate to that. In terms of where, how are we kind of looking at the roles? I think you did speak of the fact that there will be a huge influx of intelligent automation. There will
Huge.
be jobs that will change. There will be people who will respond both as individual contributors and teams to these inputs, and that is going to kind of cause a place where certain jobs, while individual contributions can remain offshore
Correct.
and people can enjoy that life, but as progress happens, they will potentially move back to the centers and the work centers, so to speak.
Correct.
And finally, we spoke of the roles of the CIO, CTO, CDO, and I think the excellent way of putting it is to say that the CTO is actually going to own the same set of KPIs as the
Absolutely.
CXO, and that there will be this other set of metrics which are more consumer oriented, more customer oriented. That will become the CTO's task.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm going to take a few more minutes if we have the time. Just check on the questions. Shalini, are there questions that you can help us with?
Hi.
Or
Yes, there are questions. I just wanted to say that if you can just a little fasten the entire thing, because we're
we
again.
are we are done. We are just going to answer
We are
questions, and
done.
then I'll take one shot at summarizing. We are
Can you
almost
see
done.
the questions though? Sauvik, sorry, Jayesh.
Yeah. Where are the questions?
It's on the right side on your direct chat. I'm going to send the questions to you. Okay. This is one.
Perfect.
On your right, there is a chat box sign.
No, there aren't any questions. There's some good compliments, actually.
That's on the
Yeah, true, true. Now I can find it. Yeah.
in the direct messages. Jayesh, I've sent you one.
Yeah, let's see. Let's
Okay.
attempt one at least.
I'm second. I'm sending you the second one as well. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. Direct.
Here, did you get them?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me quickly answer the first
Sure.
one in
Sure.
30
Sure. Go
seconds.
ahead.
Let
Yeah.
me answer 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Uh, Tools will keep on adding. Continuous tools are going to happen. Today we have from literally Asana to everything online in as an app. Every possible application set is turned into an app. But it also understand something. Devices can be very tricky, and how much can you do from a smart device? Laptops, definitely you can actually scale and do everything. Um, but don't depend on too much on smartphones to operate life, unless and until you only have a role where calling is more important than anything else and reviewing is only important. um, and yeah, I mean, devices will get better and better. The second one is, what does Shovik think of bring your own device? Does Tata, I don't want to talk about Tata Group's policies, but yes, bring your own device is available everywhere. And I think bring your own device is going to become much more and more important, because the entire service part of your device, entire warranty of your device, swapping of your device, the best is basically bring your own device. You charge that back to the organization. You buy or procure a device which is fitting to the budget of the organization, and you like whatever you want to buy and how you want to maintain your machine. So that, of course, is was very prevalent in Europe and America over the years. I think it's going to become much more prevalent in India. So I think those are the two answers.
Perfect. Perfect. So thank you very much, Shovik. Thank you very much. It was an excellent. And as you can see, the chat window itself, there is a lot of people. It resonated with a lot of people. So thank you very much, Shalini. Back to you.
Thanks, Jayesh.
Thank you both. Thank you so much. I think this was very informative, and as you can see from the chat, people really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much, Sauvik. That was really great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
I'm going to end the
Thank
session
you.
now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.